What's up, YouTube? So we're actually discussing structures and frames. You know how you want to create an anatomically sound structure with your bones. That way you're not holding somebody up with just your muscles. Because, again, like I was telling them earlier, always assume the person's stronger, faster, bigger than you. So if there's a way that you can create a defense using your anatomical structure, that will be more efficient and there'll be less energy output for you in the defensive position.
So we have the shutoke, this one here from a lot of our kata, right? And if you take a look at the body mechanics behind here, the structural integrity here, you're very strong here. You're very strong here because of that outside of 90 kind of position. And then you've got this hand here, right? So just from experimenting and stuff, I was thinking, you know, if you can glue these moves to your head, right? You're still maintaining the structural integrity, and you can use it as a crashing in tool, as a defense tool, punching, right? And it's very strong because, you know, let's just say, you know, you're in tight and you throw shots at me, right? You're using this. Yeah, I might wear a few, but it's very, very strong. And if you throw a strong hook punch, right? I'm not using a lot of force. I'm using the shutoke, but I'm just changing it, go, and I'm just gluing it into my head. Very, you know, she's using a lot of energy, so that's that point, right, where you can pick and choose moves from your kata, in this particular example, the shutoke, and try to find some ways you can glue it to your head. Like this, where you can do that. And this other hand here, it's still, you're maintaining the structural integrity. You can use it as a shield, right? And of course, you know, you move. And that's that. Another thing too, I was thinking, is you know how you have, in P95, you've got this particular move. And again, find some way to glue it to your head. So if you glue it to your head here, and if she hits me, that's going to hurt. I'm feeling it, all these collisions here. So make a slight change. I'm flipping it over like this, and I'm putting it against my hands like a pancake, and I'm molding my head, and I'm still keeping the structural integrity of, you know. And it gives me another beauty of it, if I can borrow you for a second, it gives me a chance to crash in, and I have my hands open so I can seek something. So if she's throwing shots at me, I'm coming in, and I can use my hand here to kind of secure her and work with other things.
You also see that in like Sankidai.
Nice. Yeah.
Even like movements like this, Pinot Shodan, when you put this to your forehead too. That way you're always still protecting your head and also creating something structurally sound.
Nice.
Going back to your shutoke thing, I know it's not really to the head, but doing things like this one's to the head, but doing things like this where you're actually creating frames and pushing off and actually creating a cylinder, a circle with your body, it reinforces that structure, because if I'm just trying to frame you here and push you off, with my shutoke, you can still push into me and collapse my structure if you're a lot stronger than me, right? So if I can reinforce that with things that we see in kata, creating this triangle or this circle, and just keep you away with my footwork and also just keeping my frame open, that's another solid structure to have. Right?
I was thinking of the high block, just to go off what you were saying, you know, how you did this earlier.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, you know, to flip it over this way, just here, like I got more of a mold here. I'm still keeping the structural integrity of my block.
Right.
The bent arm motion, but I'm gluing it to my head. And for me here, I have got a little bit more play to come in, because I can do this kind of stuff, you know. It's just another way to keep it strong. I mean, and you know, I don't prescribe to do it in a set drill. You're gonna have to scrimmage with it, kind of like how we were playing just now. We're moving around, and he throws the shot, you know, and I'm like this, and just, I'm not gonna stay there, you know. I just try to work that shield while I'm moving around, you know. Sometimes it might not even work. I might just abandon it. But if I find an opportunity where I'm coming in, see, I've got a spear in here, right? And who's to say that this is just a block? I mean, you're using the structural integrity of this movement, you know, in various ways in play.
What's cool about that is, as you were saying earlier, crashing in. If you crash in with a flat face, it's kind of like who has a bigger mass or who's faster that's going to be able to pierce through, right? So if you just have your chest open, and I crashed in like this, even if I planted it to my head, if you're a solid structure, I'm going to be the one that bounces back, because it's just two flat faces going in at each other. But the way you frame things to your head, you create an angle so that things can slip through, right? So let's say he throws that punch, and I frame solid or flat, I'm gonna stop it here, but if I flame with an angle, it's gonna slip past, and that's gonna allow me to go straight through that punch, you know?
So wedge.
Exactly, a wedge. So that's something to keep in mind, because all these things have angles to them. They're not doing this. Even this thing here, as you're going in, oh yeah, I'm still doing it like this. So I can even slip underneath if I need to. And also this thing allows you to start pushing off too, and you're still creating that wedge. So, I mean, that's a perfect concept. That's a perfect addition to creating structures with your body. So creating that same frame on your head, if I could figure out a way to get this arm through and create this frame here and attach my palms to my head,
Like a what?
add some pressure, add some pressure down. He's not gonna be able to push or squeeze my head down, right? It's pretty much his arm is gonna be, his body's gonna be sliding off this wedge. Notice how that can happen. So as long as I have my arm here, and even having my arm here and having a wedge underneath him here, he's not crushing my chest. He's not making me hard to breathe or anything. As long as I just maintain the structure here and keep my arms, my palms to my head, and doing pretty much the same thing we were doing in Kata earlier. Even creating a frame like this so that I can push him away. Creating these kusanku frames as well. To the point where I'm actually doing this pinon thing, right? As I'm coming up. I mean, it's all the same stuff that we're trying to create. It's just anatomical structures with the body. You know, armbar. So he gets me an armbar here. A real good defense is actually that same thing here, because this allows me to slip his leg over my head. And usually the escape to this is so that the way he finishes an armbar is squeeze the knees together, raise the hip up, and I tap. So for me to get out of this, I need to make sure he can't squeeze his knees together. And to do that, I either can push this down so that he can't squeeze, or I push this up. But if he's heavy on this foot, it's going to be hard for me to push. So therefore, you create a wedge, and that leg kind of slides off. And I get on top of that so that I kind of kill that opportunity for him. That's kind of like my way to escape. So we're just creating frames with our body parts. That's really all it is. And that is less energy than trying to do that with his leg. Because his leg's always going to be stronger than my arm. So those are all similarities, all things coming off of Chris's concept. Like attaching things to your head is actually like you're just creating more foundational support, more leggings, more things, more frames to build up that house, that body, that foundation of yourself.